Is the president worried about disruptions?
No, I don't think we're worried about that. I think, frankly, the Democrats should think about if they should stand up and applause for some of the things President Trump will be talking about.
Yes, White House spokesmodel Caroline Leavitt, the press secretary in the Trump administration White House. Wonderful, wonderful this morning on the Fox News Channel. Worried about disruptions? I think they should plan for them. I really do. I think they should build their saving children from the transgender Democrat adults, that portion, if they're going to walk out to that, they should do that maybe in the first paragraph to get them to walk out. And you can mock them. It's like Otter and the gang from Delta House in the movie Animal House when they march out on Dean Vernon Wormer. I, for one, will not sit idly by. Amazing stuff. But they should build the transgender Save the Children part. That is, as everybody likes to say, an 80-20 issue. I don't understand that 80-20 issue. How could 20% of Democrats, well, 20% of Americans, they're all Democrats, be in favor of the child genital mutilation regime that the Democrat Party has foisted upon us? Amazing stuff. Now, we've got kind of a little bit of a funny development here. We have a video that has been posted by Chuck Schumer, and it is a precursor to President Trump's speech to a joint session of Congress tonight. But if you then scratch the surface a little bit, you find that Democrat Senator Elizabeth Warren, who faked being a Cherokee Indian for about 50 years of her life and was hired at Harvard and promoted and given millions of dollars by Harvard because, they said that she was a Native American. And that's all that mattered. She looks about as Native American as nobody that you've ever met who's Native American. And then Democrat Senator Cory Booker, he posted a video. So wait a minute. Chuck Schumer posted a video. Then Elizabeth Warren posted a video. Then Cory Booker posted a video. And it reminded me of Monty Python again, because everything they do is a satire of legitimate government. It's pretty amazing. But listen to this, because this is pretty wonderful, actually. The good people at who put it together? No, it's not Libs of TikTok. It's Libs of TikTok posted it. Yeah, but I want to give Right Angle News credit, because Right Angle News on Al Gore's Amazing Internet, they took the speeches on video given by Chuck Schumer, Elizabeth Warren, and Cory Booker, and they laid them over one another because they read the exact same script given to them by whom? By Putin? I assume by Putin. Maybe Xi Jinping, Ricochet Rabbit, perhaps the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. But the script that they read, and listen to this, Chuck Schumer, Elizabeth Warren, and Cory Booker all reading and they're allegedly protesting President Trump's speech ahead of time before they hear it, because that's what fascists do.
When I win, I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one.
That ain't true. That's what you just heard. Since day one of Donald Trump's presidency, prices are not down, they're up. Inflation is getting worse, not better. The prices of groceries, gas, housing, eggs, of essentials, it's not getting better, it's getting worse. Meanwhile, Donald Trump has done enough goose eggs to lower prices. Instead, he's pardoned violent criminals who savagely beat police officers.
He's pardoned violent criminals. You know who the violent criminals are? Police officers.
Programs, and then, even worse, giving him access to Americans' most sensitive data. Social security numbers, tax returns, health care bills. He's fired thousands of essential workers, people who help our veterans get their benefits, people fighting Ebola in Africa so it doesn't come here. He's frozen funding.
You guys are the ones waving African Ebola patients into the country.
Cancer research, education, health fund, payments to family farmers, and so much worse. Why are they doing this? Trump, Musk, Doge are taking these vital services away from you for one reason only, so they can give tax breaks.
Elon Musk.
Their billionaires club. Their plan is awful. Simply awful. Billionaires win, families lose. And that is the truth.
Is the truth.
Billionaires. They love Democrat billionaires that have been funding the Democrat billionaire party for decades now. The George Soros is of the world, anti-American, anti-capitalist, the man who breaks banks to enrich himself and line his own pockets and all that good stuff. Now, great stuff. Elon Musk retweeted the Libs of TikTok video here that was put together layering the three idiots reading the same script. And Elon Musk retweeted that and said, they're all actors reading a script. They're all actors reading a script. And it did remind me, and it reminded Michael Piercy this morning, too, of the lunatics during the Occupy Wall Street scam, which was a commie organizing phase, and then, the rioting, burning, looting, the George Floyd, because they cared very deeply about George Floyd. Not the 10,000 African Americans that were shot and killed in the year after George Floyd, overwhelmingly by other African Americans. That they didn't care about, because as their friend Joseph Stalin once said, a single death is a tragedy. A million deaths are a statistic. And that's certainly true to the Democrats. More than 1 million abortions the year after Roe versus Wade was overturned. And the Democrats, they give out awards. They're the party of death. Just amazing stuff. By the way, we have a new Secretary of the Department of Education, Linda McMahon. The wrestling fortune and all that good stuff. And within minutes of being confirmed, she launches the final mission for the State Department. Quote, send it back to the states. Now, since we created the Department of Education, our educational standards have been declining steadily, a downward trajectory since a federal department was created to make education better in the United States. Education has actually gotten worse in the United States. And they don't care. Here's the thing. They're like Tommy Lee Jones in The Fugitive. They don't care. They just don't care. Amazing stuff. But Linda McMahon now says, final mission of the Department of Education is to send it back to the states. In her letter obtained by the Fox News Channel, she said she will be informing all Department of Education employees that she will be leading this final mission. Our job is to respect the will of the American people. Well, the Democrats are already against this. And the president they elected. Oh, now the Democrats got to set something on fire. Who has tasked us with accomplishing the elimination of the bureaucratic bloat here at the Department of Education, a momentous final mission, quickly and responsibly, she said. And that doesn't sound like the total elimination of the Department of Education, but the elimination of the bureaucratic bloat here at the Department of Education. And honestly, we could use, and the Democrats, they're there to defend the bloat wherever they find it. They're pro-bloat. They're pro-deep state, pro-big state, pro-big government, pro-more employees, pro-more spending, pro-more debt. $36 trillion in debt, not enough. Keeping in mind that 36 trillion seconds is more than 1 million years. And so, if we did start paying off the national debt at $1 a second today, it would take us more than 1 million years to pay off the national debt at $1 a second. Isn't that amazing? Man, oh man. Our Democrat Party, they want more of everything bad. More open borders, more gangs, more cartels, more drug overdoses. They're not on our side. I don't know how many different ways there are to say it, but that's one very important way to say it. Isn't that amazing? Now, President Trump, when he goes to, let's go to soundbite number 8. When President Trump delivers his speech tonight to a joint session of Congress in the chamber, normally occupied by the House of Representatives, and the nation, 9 p.m. Eastern time tonight, the president will have a lot to talk about President Trump being popular, being liked. The American people, those who voted for him and those who didn't vote for him as well. President Trump is very popular on key issues about the border, about Ukraine, about wanting peace, about wanting hostages out. And CNN has a guy with the silly name Harry Enton. Harry Enton. Anybody have a Harry Enton? Who's got a Harry Enton? Harry Enton, not a good name. Harry Enton on CNN talking about the poll numbers that really upsets the people at CNN.
What are you seeing in terms of how Americans feel about Trump's handling of Russia's war against Ukraine?
So I think the easiest way we can kind of just ask this is, do Americans like the way that Trump's handling his job and compare it to how they felt about Joe Biden? So this is the net approval rating. You look at Joe Biden back in 2024, he was 22 points underwater. Holy cow. You look at Donald Trump, it's just a different planet entirely. I mean, the gulf between these two is wider than the Gulf of America or Mexico, depending on which side of the aisle you stand on. He's at +2. So, look, at this particular point, Americans are giving Donald Trump the benefit of the doubt. He's doing considerably better than Joe Biden was doing on the handling of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. And so on this simple question, I think Americans are saying, okay, Donald Trump's doing all right on this.
On this single question, how about on the border, Harry Enton? How about on not defunding the police and waving millions of gang members in from Latin America to kill and loot and plunder? Speaking of which, I went to 2 stores yesterday, a drugstore, like a CVS, Walgreens kind of place, and to a big grocery store, a regular grocery store, like a Safeway giant kind of grocery store. And the number of things that are now locked up behind plexiglass is really third world. Really tree-swinging third world stuff. And the Democrats have made theft so normal that stores, in a lot of cases, and I found this yesterday, don't even have what you're looking for. They just don't carry stuff anymore because my best girl was feeling peaked yesterday. I went to get the thermometer, stick under your tongue thermometer. And we have one of those thermometers. Now, it's an electronic digital thermometer. Right? And went and got it, hadn't used it in years. Battery's dead, naturally. So now you got a fancy, nice electronic digital thermometer that doesn't work because it's got a watch battery in there, and the battery's dead because you haven't used it in years. And I thought we had a glass thermometer like a normal, like your mom had, right? I can't find it anywhere. We just moved into a new apartment, and I couldn't find it anywhere. So I went to the drugstore and walked to it. And I'm like, hey, I just want to get one of those glass thermometers. They don't carry it. They don't carry a glass thermometer anymore. But they have the electronic digital thermometer, and they start at like $35 and go to, $59 or something like that. And I'm like, that's stupid. I'll put my hand on her head. Oh, you got a fever, okay. Oh, yeah, my hand feels cold now, doesn't it? Because you got a fever. It's like that. And then I went to the grocery store next door because I didn't want to do that. And they don't have a glass thermometer either. But they did have an electronic thermometer that was a fraction the price. So I got that one instead. But the Democrats have made crime and shoplifting so normal, so ordinary that even big international stores, Walgreens and CVS and Safeway and Giant, they stopped carrying stuff because the Democrats have made crime so normal, have made shoplifting so normal. In a lot of places you can steal up to, because of Democrats, steal up to $950 worth of stuff, knowing that the Democrats won't prosecute for that. So people are going out of business and they stopped carrying stuff and they lock stuff up behind plexiglass. You have to go get somebody and they have fewer employees because of all the theft. They're losing so much money. How many people have been laid off from stores because of Democrats making theft normal? Chris here with a list of things that none of us should trust. The Washington Post, the New York Times, anything on CNN. Here's a list of things that I do trust. The Washington Times. Support real journalism for just $1 a week at washingtontimes.com/Chris. All right, I tell you what, let's take a phone call, Michael. Let's go to, we got Trudeau, the little French guy. He's babbling of, oh no, the trade war, it is very bad for the Canada. Stop playing hockey. Let's go to the telephones. Let's go to Dave, calling from the great state of Idaho, where I hope people are still normal. Dave, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Yeah, we got plenty of normal going on out here, Chris. You know, Chris, I grew up in the 60s, and every night my mom and dad would be watching Walter Cronkite News. And I can still recall that Walter would say, for more on the story, let's go to Bill Plant. And it seemed like Bill Plant was all over the earth on that show.
It's true. Yeah, it's true. He was. Yes, he was. He was all growing up. He was all over the place. From war in the Middle East to the war in Vietnam to the civil rights movement to the Martin Luther King assassination and the riots at the Chicago Convention. And yeah, it's true. Bill Plant, my stepfather, who I called Dad growing up, married my mother when I was 5 years old. And you're right about that. Yeah, he was everywhere. And it was good. We even had Walter Cronkite over to the house. You know? It was like the Pope showing up when Walter Cronkite showed up. The men from the neighborhood lined the property line to get a glimpse of Walter Cronkite. It was a big deal. Journalism, not the same anymore.
That's so true. I just had a question. Who gives the Democrat marching orders? I can't believe that one Democratic senator doesn't have a daughter who may be playing in soccer or volleyball or basketball and is okay with boys coming into the locker room and putting their daughter out there in danger of getting smash-faced by some boy. And so who gives – is that Chuck Schumer? Does he have that much control over the whole Senate? Who do you think does that?
Well, I think it's groupthink. It's a cult. It is. They are very, very culty, and no matter what the party tells them to believe, they believe it. We've got a Supreme Court justice who was asked, what's a woman? And she, a woman herself, couldn't tell us what a woman is. The Democrat Party has all bought into the transgender agenda of the radical extreme left. Most European countries have left it behind. Great Britain, even known for their buggery, left it behind. But the Democrat Party, when they're told that this is what you believe, they all believe it. And that's what it looks like, Dave, right?
I can't explain it. I know I used to coach my daughter when she was growing up in youth sports, and I think all that they can do now, if they're not going to get any help from the Senate, is the parents of the girls, and the girls have to just not participate if a boy steps up to the line. Just, you know what I mean? Just let the gun goes off, let him go.
Yeah. Yeah, let the one boy run, let the one boy pole vault. The Democrat Party is insane. They've lost their minds. I mean, the open borders, the Venezuelan gangs, the gender transformation in kindergarten, gender queer in grammar school, this pornographic kiddie porn book that the Democrats are peddling. They are unwell. President Trump announced tariffs on Canada, on Mexico, on China. And little Pierre Trudeau in Canada, he came out today and he held a press conference and he's announcing, oh, yeah? Oh, we're Canada, eh? We're not going to back down. We're gonna impose tariffs on you now because we'll show you. So here is the Canadian Prime Minister, Pierre Trudeau. I always call him Pierre. It's his father, Justin Trudeau, at his little TV press conference today.
The United States launched a trade war against Canada, their closest partner and ally, their closest friend. At the same time, they're talking about working positively with Russia, appeasing Vladimir Putin, a lying, murderous dictator.
Appeasing.
Make that make sense.
How does that appease Putin? Calling for an end to war against Ukraine, it appeases Putin. And what does tariffs against Canada have to do with Putin's war against Ukraine. Nothing whatsoever. He's like a Democrat or a Democrat ally. You know, they have these allies like transgenders. Pretty amazing stuff. And Justin Trudeau in Canada, he's coming out and like, hey, I know we're Canada, but we're America's hat. But we're really angry now.
Canadians are reasonable, and we are polite, but we will not back down from a fight. Not when our country and the well-being of everyone in it is at stake. At the moment, the U.S. tariffs came into effect in the early hours of this morning, and so did the Canadian response.
Sure.
Canada will be implementing 25% tariffs against $155 billion worth of American goods.
Seems like a lot of money, $155 billion. Canada. You'd think you could buy all of Canada for $155 billion. Maybe we should just go in and buy everything and then ask them to leave. Hey, you got to leave. And Justin Trudeau, he's getting a little feisty. He's come. We're polite, but we're not kidding. Now we're not joking. We're gonna put tariffs on you. And let me say this too. Now, what President Trump is doing with Canada and Mexico in particular is not ordinary. It's not typical. And I'd like to think, and honestly, I believe, that the Trump White House has more in mind than the first step, because the first step is a bit messy, to be sure. We're going to impose tariffs on Canada and on Mexico. And, you know, Mexico, particularly if you're along the U.S.-Mexico border, people work in Texas and live in Mexico, and people live in Texas and work in Mexico, and it goes back and forth along the U.S.-Mexico border because we're friendly countries and all that, setting aside the cartels and the drug trafficking and the human trafficking and all that. Controlling our border is important. But Mexico is an enormously important trading partner, particularly if you live in a place where you can drive a golf ball into Mexico from your driveway. That matters. And I assume and I believe that President Trump has the next step in mind, that he's thought this through, they've gamed it out, and they have predicted what's going to happen next and what our response will be. And the president also tonight has a speech to, again, a joint session of Congress and the American people. I assume he'll be explaining some of this, at least, in the speech tonight. Justin Trudeau in Ottawa. Ottawa, it's pronounced like that. Ottawa sounds like it's an incomplete thought.
Let me be crystal clear. There is absolutely no justification or need whatsoever for these tariffs today. Now, the legal pretext your government is using to bring in these tariffs is that Canada is apparently unwilling to help in the fight against illegal fentanyl.
That's only part of it.
That is totally false.
That is totally false. Totally false. Well, that's one of the things. And also, I didn't think that was a huge problem. One of the huge problems with Canada. Trade imbalance is a separate issue. And, you know, every country, including our friendly countries, create trade deals with the United States. And now President Trump did, first time around, throw out the Bush NAFTA, North American Free Trade Agreement, and come up with the, U.S. MCA, the Mexico, Canada, U.S. trade agreement, which was supposed to have leveled things off a little better. But now it's just, and all the headlines are, Trump initiates trade war, imposes tariffs on Canada and Mexico, and applying 25% tariffs. And I've got to say, if I assume that when the Trump administration people sat down and they talked this through, they said, well, what's Canada going to do when we announce this? Well, I assume that little Justin Trudeau will come out and announce some kind of retaliatory action, right? And then, see, that's where you're the smart guys in the United States and the Treasury Department and the Commerce Department and so on. And you say, okay, then here's our next move, because it's a chess game. It's not, throwing a baseball at somebody's head and walking away. That's not the end of it, right? It's got to be move, and then their move, and then our move, and then their move. Justin Trudeau.
Now, it's not in my habit to agree with the Wall Street Journal.
He's wearing a habit.
But, Donald, they point out that even though you're a very smart guy, this is a very dumb thing to do. We two friends fighting is exactly what our opponents around the world want to see.
That's not really what we're, this is not our allies and our enemies around the world, what they want. But I've got to say, I believe that President Trump has more in mind than what we've seen thus far, because just saying, hey, Canada, and I think that little Justin Trudeau announced that they were doing, a $1 billion project spending effort to try to control our border with them, their border with us when it comes to human traffic and to drug traffic. So they said, oh, yeah, we're going to do something about it. We're going to do something real big. Now, none of that happens in an hour. None of it happens overnight. But let's assume, and we have to assume at this point, because honestly, again, the president's got a big speech tonight, and he'll probably hold 3 press availabilities before the speech tonight, because it is his practice and his habit. All right, and we have no more Justin Trudeau. That's Justin Trudeau from Canada. And he sounds a little miffed, and I understand that. And I don't know what President Trump's end game is with Canada in this matter. And I assume that he's got another couple of moves in the pipeline that he is ready to make, because right now it just kind of sounds a little bit like a waste of energy, putting tariffs on Canadian stuff coming into the United States, and then Canada saying, oh, yeah, we're going to put tariffs on U.S. stuff coming into Canada. Oh, yeah? And then, so let's go ahead and assume that there's more to it than that, and that it has been thought through beyond where we are right now. And with that, let's go to the telephones. Let's go to Gene, calling from Youngstown, Ohio. Gino, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Good morning. My pleasure, Chris.
Welcome.
Hey, got a couple of things, maybe a third thing, because I was thinking of something while I was on hold. Anyway, I just wanted to let you know that I do a lot of driving for my work, and I may run into some areas that smell like Jerry Nadler or old age cheeses, but I have my Oxyleaf on the dashboard blowing out clean, fresh breezes. That was my first thing.
That is a wonderful thing. This is now, for people that don't know, this is a product that I advertise for, and this is like a real life, real world endorsement of the the Oxy. That's wonderful stuff. Very happy to hear that.
Right. And okay, here's my thing. So if the Democrats do a boycott, I just had some questions about that. I mean, based on their wokeness and everything. Now, can you be a biological, and I assume when they mean boy, you've got to be like, a boy, or you got to be like a teenager maybe, or maybe an 8-year-old. Can you be a biological female that declares that you're a boy at 8 years old and be in the boycott? Or can you be a biological boy that declares as a girl but still be in the boycott as long as you're, under 18? So that was my second thing.
Well, that is a fascinating question. I mean, and first, I do thank you for the Eden Pure, the fun Eden Pure endorsement product that I endorse. That's wonderful. And we've got 2 of them at home too.
Okay. Well, I got 3.
I know. I didn't mean. I'm not going to cut you off. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Okay. I apologize. But now you raise a very important question, because we're talking about boys and girls in grammar school and in high school and in college, and the Democrats want boys and men to compete as girls and women, and then and one of our brilliant callers a little earlier said, well, when the girls come up to the line and they fire the starter pistol or blow the whistle, they should just walk away and not compete. But who is it? Because the Democrats they don't know what girls are anymore, right? And they don't know what boys are anymore. And we have a Supreme Court justice who's a woman that doesn't know what a woman is. And the Democrat Party has dismantled biology, science, genetics, gender, sex, and then they yell at you, and they yell in your face when you say, no, a man is a man, a woman is a woman, and that will never change. They just yell at you, right?
And they're hanging in with the 20% of crazy people that supposedly want that. So the whole Democrat Party is in. They're not changing. Okay, my third thing was now these fired workers that Elon Musk, and I just got my Ohio plate, Musket. They gave it to me. They didn't try to poke me out of it. Anyway, won't these workers now? You said it's National Sex Workers Day somewhere.
Yeah, yesterday was International.
Okay.
They like to be globalist. International Sex Workers Rights Day. Yeah.
Right. Well, not all of these fired workers, but the ones who are staying at home and collecting a paycheck and actually moved. A lot of them I heard moved out of Washington and still collecting their paychecks from on their job. If those ones that got fired, wouldn't they qualify for work as a sex worker? Because theoretically, they've kind of been, maybe not physically, been doing that to the taxpayers, but theoretically.
Heck yeah. I've got to tell you, and you know, honestly, Gene, every poll shows that 79, 80%, 81% of Americans don't want men playing the roles of women in sports, and certainly not kids and school sports and grammar school and high school and college sports. And, you know, President Trump is fighting against that. And now, I don't know if you heard this part, Gene, I think you did, that Democrats are talking about walking out of the president's address tonight if he brings up saving girls' sports for girls and women's sports for women. And again, my suggestion is put that in the first paragraph so they walk out at the very beginning of the speech and then make fun of them and laugh at them when they do. I think that'd be a good way to play it. But,
yeah, I do too. Well, we don't have to worry about hanging them because I think I see them every day hanging themselves because the country has changed, and I don't think it ever was really all that change. What they got away with thanks to their compliant media. If they didn't have the media propagandists, we never would have gotten where we got. And now we got to come back.
It's information dominance that I've been talking about for a long time, Gene. The left has secured information dominance, which is a military concept, an intelligence concept. When an army goes into invades a country like Ukraine, like the Russians, you seek to secure information dominance. The first thing you do if you invaded Cuba, you take over the radio stations and the TV stations. The left has done that in the United States. NPR is a big part of that, for sure. It's the most elaborate propaganda network on the face of the earth today. And the Democrats own it, and they fund it with our taxpayer dollars, which is kind of an amazing reality, but a reality nonetheless. And then the media, you know, the newspapers, and that's why they wanted to own Twitter, why they're so enraged with Elon Musk. He took away a weapon in their arsenal to dominate information in the United States. And then academia, but, you know, the New York Times, the Washington Post work for them, and fake Time magazine and all that stuff. And then academia, which writes the second draft of history. And it's amazing how the Democrats are no longer the party that kept women from getting the vote for 40 years when they are no longer the party of slavery and the bullwhip and the Confederate States of America when they are. The Democrats have erased their history. When Nancy Pelosi removed all the statues and paintings in the Capitol and on Capitol Hill of racists from the past, every single one of them a Democrat, and that was removed from the telling of the story by the media and in academia. They're like the Taliban, erasing their own history. And it's amazing, the propaganda apparatus of the Democrat Party. And their boy, Joseph Goebbels, famously said, "A lie told once remains a lie told 1,000 times becomes the truth." And the Democrat Party, they look like they've got Schumer, and now there are 4 Democrat senators reading the same script and posting videos of the same thing. It's about brainwashing. It's about indoctrination. It's about repeating the lie so many times that it becomes the truth. Gene, thank you very much for the call. Great call.
Did I hear you correctly say that perhaps he was influenced by Gurgle?
Now, there is a bill in Congress that would reserve sports in America, women's sports, for women and for girls, and not allow men. You don't have to call them biological men or biological boys. That's superfluous and redundant. Men and boys will suffice. And the Democrats want men stealing women's trophies, and they want boys stealing girls' trophies. The Speaker of the House of Representatives is not in favor of that cheating.
That is shocking. I cannot believe that the Democrats will not go along with common sense on this and the protection of women and girls. I suppose we'll have to go through the process again. The Republican Party is going to protect girls and women in athletics.
Well, how about that? Now, the headline is U.S. Senate Democrats block bill to ban trans athletes from women's sports. Senator Ashley Moody is a Republican from Florida.
The bill shouldn't even be necessary. I mean, protecting opportunities for women and fair competition for women, this is something we have fought for and has been commonplace throughout America, certainly. And who would have ever thought we would be going backwards? Where are all the Democratic women who stood up for this so long?
The Democrats in the Senate, the bill was voted on in the Senate yesterday, and I believe every single Democrat voted against protecting women and girls' sports. Senator Ashley Moody.
I am so proud of Republicans. I was proud to support this bill. We will continue to fight for this and fight for girls and women. And look, hey, the Republicans are now the party of women. We are the one that want to advance meaningful competition and opportunities for women. The Democrats need to get back on board. Certainly the American people are.
Well, Democrat Party is the party of Jeffrey Epstein and Harvey Weinstein and Bill Clinton, though. Ashley Moody.
All they keep doing is demonstrating that they will work against the wishes of the American people who are, in fact, supposed to be running this country and setting the laws. The American people, not the Democrats who think they know better.
Imagine that. Democratic senator says trans athletes deserve an ally after Republican-led bill quashed in razor-sharp 51-45 vote. I believe every single Democrat voted for men to compete as women. Every single Democrat in the Senate of the United States, once the greatest deliberative body on the face of the planet Earth. No more, now just a bunch of cross-dressing mental cases.